We're making sourdough pizza dough. It's Friday, and instead of spending $60 on pizzas, I am making my own homemade sourdough pizza dough from scratch with 5 ingredients, which is gonna be a fraction of the cost of takeout. And it takes about 5 minutes to put this dough together. So let's get into it. This is my sourdough starter, Cinderella. She's fed, she's ready to go, and we need 1 cup of her, 1 cup of active sourdough starter, 1.5 cups of warm water, 4 cups of flour, bread if you have it. I don't, I've run out of bread flour. We're using unbleached all-purpose today. 1 teaspoon of salt and 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And I'm using a stand mixer because it just makes things easier. If you don't have a stand mixer, you can obviously mix by hand. Dough hook going on. We're gonna let this mix up. So we're mixing the starter and the warm water together. Speed 4, we're doing speed 4. So we just mixed until a shaggy dough forms, which is what we have here now. And then we're gonna add in 2 tablespoons of olive oil. I know I don't have 2 tablespoons of olive oil left. I'll be lucky if I have a teaspoon. So I'm gonna use avocado oil instead and hope for the best. In case you haven't noticed, I'm pretty much we're gonna use what we have kind of person and we don't waste. So 2 tablespoons of avocado oil. Drop these 2 guys in here. And then we're gonna run this stand mixer. I'm gonna run it on speed 3 or 4, depending on how it sounds, until the dough is elastic, until I can pull that dough, stretch it, and it has that window pane effect where I can see light through it and it doesn't rip. We want it to be nice and stretchy, nice and elastic. It'll probably be about 8 minutes. So I ran it a bit longer. It was quite sticky, and I really do think that's the avocado oil. When I've made this dough with olive oil, I haven't had that issue. So I did run it longer. I ran it more like 10 minutes, maybe even 12 minutes. Wasn't really keeping track, so that it's actually manageable and I can handle it. It doesn't stick to my fingers when I touch it. So we are now just gonna put a tea towel over this. We're gonna cover it and leave it on the counter until I'm ready to bake it. It's 9 a.m. I'm gonna bake around 5 p.m. So it's gonna sit on my counter for 8 hours. If your house is warmer, 4 to 6 hours is sufficient. My house is on the colder side. It's 19 degrees Celsius inside. We're gonna let this bad boy sit for 8 hours, and then we're gonna have our pizza tonight that costs significantly less than store-bought and has way less ingredients and is much healthier for you. The dough looks really wet when you first start running the mixer with the oil in there and you feel like you completely screwed it up. You're doing it right. Give it time, literally run it for a minimum of 6 minutes and then have a look at it and see how it's going. The mixer will start pulling the dough away from the edges and incorporating the oil into the dough. It should end up in a ball of dough away from the edges at the end of the time you're done with the stand mixer, and that's when you'll be able to pull it out and stretch it and make sure it has the window pane effect.